Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Camera Life podcast. It is Thursday, the 26th of March, 2026. And welcome back. Of course, today we are joined by a special guest. But just before we say hello to our guest, let's check in with the boss. G'day, Justin. How are you doing today?
I am wonderful. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm looking forward to you and I catching up a little later this afternoon. Our orbits will clash, which is lovely.
They will. In a positive way. I'm going to bring the Q3 down. You can help me decide whether it's on the chopping block or not. Stay,
well,
go,
I'm going to bring
stay.
I'm going to bring my XE5 with that new 23. Maybe we should swap cameras.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Go for a little walk.
Yeah. Let's
anyway, enough
test
about
out two average autofocusers, go head to head. Anyway.
But of course, being a Thursday morning, we are joined by an amazing guest. And today we're joined by one of the best, which is Cam Blake, who could pretty much run this podcast on his own. G'day, Cam.
I don't know. G'day, guys. How you going? I don't know if I'd be able to run it on my own, and I don't know if I'm anywhere near the best, but I will agree with the autofocus on the Q3. It's dinosaur age.
It is a little sluggish. The firmware update did hasten it up a little bit, and I haven't tested that properly yet because someone else has been borrowing it. So I'm keen to. I'll point it at Greg's beard later and see if the beard detect works.
Beard detect. Yeah. Well, I guess you can't test that for yourself, can you? Being a baby-faced little boy.
Kept saying can't detect.
Yeah, can't detect.
I think you should try and grow a beard before BFOP this year.
I am. I've been growing it since last BFOP. It's coming.
He's been growing it since he was 12.
Yeah, it's been growing for the last 12 years. God. No.
Well, it's great to have you on the show, Cam. How have you been, mate?
Thanks.
Are you good?
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Been good. Been busy and just plodding along with life and photography. So everything's going pretty cool at the moment. So we're only early days in the year, so anything could happen. But so far, so good. Yeah. So thanks for having me on. It's good.
Oh no, it's our pleasure. It's been a long time coming, and of course you have dropped into the show before.
I have, yes.
But we finally get to unpack your story, your journey, your inspiration, and where you're at today. But before we get to that, I want to start off today's episode with maybe some quick fire questions. You've just recently returned from a trip to Japan. It was a tour that you ran with guests. So Justin and I have been to Japan multiple times between us, and we love it for all of what it offers. I want to ask you a few questions about your experience. So some quick fire questions, just quick fire answers as well.
Sure.
What was your favorite city in Japan to visit?
Tokyo for me. I thought Tokyo was another level of coolness. Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah. And what was it that you think stood out the most for a photographer in Tokyo?
The organized chaos was what sort of stood out for me. Everything was chaotic but organized, so you could set up shots well and sort of predict what was going to happen, even though it looked like it was chaos. So I found that, like some cities you go to, it's a bit hectic where you're really just shooting from the hip and hoping. I found like Tokyo, you could actually set up some sort of interesting shots and get them and nail them as you were there because everything was a bit more organized. So yeah, it was good like that.
Can I wedge a question in, Greg, about Tokyo? Did you day or night? Did you prefer shooting in the day or the night?
Night for sure. Night for me. The last night I was there, my assistant lady Cheryl, who comes along and helps. We went for a walk just to clear our heads after the tour. We went walking through one of the regions, and we just found this really cool back alley with cafes. The train was running overhead, and like everywhere you pointed was a shot, and it was just a no-brainer for cool stuff. So definitely night. I thought night and black and white night. I love doing some black and white stuff. Yeah. Like there's color everywhere in Tokyo, but the black and white for me seemed to strip that back and sort of give you more of just a bit more an authentic feel about the town as opposed to the oversaturated colors and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Next question. Now, I know that you're used to a meat and three veg lifestyle, given that you live in Tasmania. What was the most amazing meal or tasting experience that you had in Japan?
It'd have to be my cheeseburger from McDonald's in one of the towns there. I try McDonald's everywhere I go. So
how did it rank?
Well, the cheeseburger was much better. That's more seasoning. It actually tastes like a proper burger, not a plastic piece of junk you get out here. But what was the best proper meal we had? Oh, we had so many. I can't remember, to be honest. I don't know which one was the best. They were all really nice. we had some noodles, some of the traditional noodles. That was really nice one night where you sort of just chop it all up in your own bowl and get everything going and make a mess over your beard.
Soba noodles.
Nah,
I don't know.
yeah, it is. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we went to this beautiful restaurant, which had these incredible wooden rafters, all these massive wooden beams. Like, it was a photographer's dream in the actual restaurant, but we're too busy trying to keep the soup and noodles off the front of your face. So it was good. Yeah.
Japanese soup and noodles is terrible with a beard.
Yeah.
Yes.
It just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
That's why I don't
pretty much any meal with a beard's not much fun.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Especially blazers.
Speaking of Tokyo, Samantha Olsen's there right now, morning from a wet and rainy Tokyo. Just dropped in to say hi whilst on the train. Well,
hey, Sam,
rub it in, why don't you?
We
Have
hate
fun.
you.
On the
hate you
Yamamoto line. How good's the train?
Yeah, the Ginza line.
The Ginza line. How good's the? I just got addicted with all the sounds of Tokyo, like all the station sound. And there's one station where it plays the Astro Boy theme song.
Yeah.
Like I jumped out of my skin when I heard that. I'm like, that's Astro Boy. I think that. If you want to go deep with me quickly, that was one of the first times I ever got emotional watching anything, was when Astro Boy died in the end of that series. That wrecked me for weeks after that. And then I heard the song at the station, and I'm like, oh my God, it's all coming back to me. It's all flooding back to me. So, yeah.
What an experience.
Yeah, it was.
And speaking of experiences, what was the most bananas bizarre thing you experienced in Japan?
We had a fairly straightforward sort of trip. We didn't see any too crazy things, but maybe we went up to the Urambondi Lakes, the 5 Lake District, and we had snow about a double-decker bus height as we were driving out of there, and it was blizzarding and sideways snow, and that was a bit of a bananas moment with a group of people, whether or not we're going to get them back down off these mountains or not. So I haven't seen snow that high before. I've seen photos of it that you see online, but driving out and you're sort of looking up and like, wow, that's a lot of snow. That was a pretty bananas moment, but we didn't have any crazy sort of Japanese moments that you get. I had to go shopping for my son. He wanted some Pokemon cards. That was an experience I think I got vertigo just looking at all the cabinets of Pokemon cards, and then trying to speak broken Japanese, trying to explain what my son wanted. That was a bit of a bananas moment, but I got what he wanted. He was pretty happy. So all's well that ends well.
And did you manage? Sorry, Jay, you go.
I was just going to say, there can be some shopping experiences and just walking into places, and it's unsettling. Yes. Did you walk into a Pachinko parlor? You know, with the little ball machines that are really loud?
Oh, well, we went to we went to the big camera shop. I can't think of what it's called now.
Yodobashi?
Yodobashi, and that has a whole second level or half level of those machines. I for the life of me couldn't figure out what the attraction was.
It's like pokies. You can win. You can kind of win money and trade your balls back in for cash, which is
that's what
you
can't pokies too. You trade your
can't do it.
for cash.
Yeah, pretty much. But you can't trade it in at the Pachinko parlor. You have to go to a separate business which is next door, because that sort of gambling is illegal. So they can't give you money directly from that place. You've got to go to a different store front to trade in your balls for cash or physical prizes. It's a bizarre way to get around a gambling issue.
I saw them everywhere, but I didn't understand what the deal with it was. So
we didn't play it. It was too hard to figure out how to even but the sound was deafening. It was intense.
It's full, isn't it?
Yodobashi, I actually, there was a lady who went with us, Jo, one of my nice customers, great customers, and she's a well experienced emergency nurse. And I started getting vertigo as I was shopping around all these locations, and something popped up in my Instagram feed about a week after I got back. As soon as I left Tokyo, my vertigo sort of settled itself down. But apparently throughout all the department stores, they play these high-pitched frequencies to stop kids stealing stuff or congregating around these stores. I thought it was rubbish, but I looked it up, and apparently it's true. But it can affect older ears and affect your balance. So every time I went into a shop, Yodobashi, I went in there 600,000 times, I started getting all vertigo and dizzy, and I thought maybe it's all the lights, but apparently there's these high frequency sounds they pump into these shops to try and because only young people can hear these. I'm young. I'm saying I'm old now. I am old, but young people can hear this frequency, which apparently stops them. It's like like a dog whistle trying to keep the dogs away. But every time I went into a shop, I'm like, I got to stop shopping. I'm getting dizzy with all this stuff going on. But it's really crazy.
That explains a lot. Like when Jim, Tony, and I went for the first time, we were very dizzy. We thought it was the 900 Asahis that we drank, but makes way more sense that it was the it was the high pitched frequency.
Not the alcohol.
No, it couldn't have been. I'd never heard of that. That's crazy. Yeah. And you could notice it. Wow.
Well, as soon as I walked into these shops, I thought it was like the fluoro lights or the fluorescent lights buzzing, like making my eyes go funny, but it wasn't. I turned around and I actually had a moment in one of the shops where I was on the phone to my wife out here, and I said, I just got to stop for a sec. I'm really feeling lightheaded. She goes, "Oh, have you eaten?" I'm like, "I've eaten heaps. I've drank water, but every time I come into these shops, I start feeling weird." And then just out of random, I had this post on my bloody Instagram came up and said, "Oh, have you ever felt dizzy?" Going, I'm like, "This is a crock," and I looked it up, and apparently it's a thing. So good on the Japanese to find a way to.
Well, see, they do a similar thing here at my local Coles, but they pump outside. They pump classical
Rick
music.
Ashley. Oh,
I thought you were going to say Christmas songs.
No, they pump classical music to deter the rough sleepers from camping out the front of the shop, asking people for money.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they blast this music. I think it's terrible. I think it's inhumane. But
classical does suck.
Yeah, it does. At least let's get something modern.
Even some nice jazz, whatever.
Yeah, a little bit of jazz. We don't want them to enjoy it too much. Clearly.
No.
Cam, last question: if you were to go back to Japan as a photographer, whether it be solo or with a mate or on a tour, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently? That's a good question. I'd probably take less gear. I took my M11 little street sort of like rangefinder. I used that to sort of work around the streets, and I took a bigger a DSLR around there as well. So I would probably leave the bigger camera at home and just take my M camera with a few more lenses. And really, like I had a little sling bag for most of the trips around the towns that I had my camera out of, and that worked so well. But when we were on tour, we had like the car all with the camera gear and the backpacks and the tripods. I would have preferred just to have that sling bag and just wander around that. So next year when we go, another tour next year we're going, I'll probably do that. I'll probably just take the sling bag, the little Leica, and 3 or 4 lenses just to cover most ranges and be happy with it. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I found that too. My first trip to Tokyo, I took way too much gear, and I hated myself for it. Ended up leaving. By the second day, I left most of it in the hotel room and just took a sling with 1 camera, 2 lenses. And then by the last trip, I was just walking around with the 1 camera, 1 lens. I had a backup camera, like a little point and shoot in my bag. But it just made sense to go light and just get into the process.
I'm surprised you had enough room in your hotel room to leave gear, because they're like a shoebox.
They are teeny. Try being a snowboard photographer in a hotel room in Japan. So you've got snowboard bags and shit everywhere. And then you've got camera gear just lined up all over the place. There's one outlet that doesn't really hold the adapter thing in there properly. So I was traveling with a power board that I had to. I shouldn't even say this. I had to cut the earth pin off because otherwise it doesn't work properly. So I've still got over there a modified power board that I would travel with. Oh yeah,
you should bring that to BFOP and just run the whole AV off that one. Like BFOP.
I mean, sure.
Matt Nick would love that kind of
electrical
fire going on. You're right about that adapter thing that hangs out of the wall though.
Yeah, and it just sort of droops down, and you're like, "Is this going to work?" And it usually does, but I don't know, fire.
Well, one hotel room I was in, it was halfway up the wall, and there was no shelf or desk below it.
Yes,
how does the Japanese reach that?
What? How do I do? Yeah, it's crazy. So I had to sort of prop my suitcase under it and set up a little power station. Oh, it's crazy.
One final question just on gear before I'd love to say hi to the chat. Is what focal length? Like if you were if you were just going to take 1 lens, or if you were recommending someone, hey, just take this 1 lens. If you're not serious about capturing everything, you just want to rock around Japan with just 1 lens. What was it? Did you have a most used?
It was either my 21 or 35. 21 would be probably good for all scenarios. So you can get those vistas of Mount Fuji and then anything else that you go visit. But it's also great for that street photography. You can sort of get right up in front of things. So 21 mil or 35 mil would be good. For me, I'd probably take the 21. 21's fun lens to work with.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, my single lens last time was a 35mm equivalent.
Yeah.
It's perfect for street.
Well, I ended up buying a 35mm over there. I spent way too much money on gear.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I bought a 35mm f1.4, Leica, whatever that is. And that was dirt cheap. Has a little bit of dust in it, but that's one thing I noticed about their camera conditioning. Like they say it's a B grade, dusty, foggy, and you pick it up, it's like it's brand new. It's got one speck in it. Like they overcompensate what their ratings are. So yeah, but I picked up a 35mm while I was there, and it was almost cemented to the camera for most of the trip. So yeah. Good place.
Japanese secondhand camera stores are just bananas.
They are crazy.
Like I went into one in West Shinjuku, and one floor was Canon, the next floor was Nikon, and then the next floor was just like, and it just kept going.
I went to that
like
one.
It was like, I think is it
how
map
much
camera?
fun? Yeah, it is map camera. How fun is it getting out of Shinjuku Station? Isn't that a mind?
That is a nightmare.
We
Especially
tried
late at
3 or
night
4
when
different ways.
I arrived into Shinjuku like at 10 o'clock at night, and there was roadwork. So everything that I had planned in terms of how to get to my hotel had just completely changed. They sent me up onto like a sky bridge. I just got so lost. Yeah.
The sky bridges are killers. Yeah. It's
They
when
are.
you've got big luggage and you just hear this like dunk, 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 dunk of someone coming down the stairs over the bridge.
Falling downstairs.
That was me.
and for all their amazing technology and everything that they do over there, Shinjuku, that's just a piss take at tourists. They're like, you know what? This station, we're not going to give you any help. Every other station's pretty good, but this one, you're on your own, and Google Maps doesn't work under there, so good luck. And you've just got to sniff your way out of there. So I think I came out 6 different exits on that station.
It's crazy, but those underground, like subway areas, they're massive. They've got complete shopping centers in them, food courts. I was able to walk from Shinjuku Station to my hotel in West Shinjuku without seeing daylight.
Yes,
like my hotel had a subway entrance and a family night. Like it's just, it's incredible. It's
Family Mart, Lawson's, and 7-Eleven. Take it today. Just best egg sandwiches I've ever had were out of 7-Eleven. Unbelievable egg sandwiches.
Pizza buns, always good on a hot snowy morning.
Yes, absolutely.
Jen Cooper in the chat says, "Rocking the specs, old man Blake."
Hey, Jen.
Old man. Hey,
they look
Jen.
really good.
They're working. That's the main thing. Yeah. I was reluctant. I had a moment where I'm like, oh God, I'm old. I've got to get some glasses. So
just go with it.
Oh, so I'm the odd one out with glasses and beards. I've got neither. Oh, well.
How old are you?
Well, you're not out of puberty yet, so.
Yeah.
One day.
You're still in high school, aren't you?
No, I quit. All right, let's see who else is in the chat. Because, as Dennis has said, Jen Cooper's in the chat. Dennis Smith's also in the chat. Good to see both you guys
G'day,
here.
Den. I'm rocking the
Dennis
Den hat today. I'm like, what hat should I wear?
It's a bit Dennis. It's even in his little profile pic there. Yeah, look at that.
It is,
He says Japan camera shops are simply juicy.
They are.
That's a good description.
David Williams says, morning and hi Cam, Southwest Tassie trip last weekend as advertised. What does that mean? As advertised, smiley face.
Yes. As advertised. Well, last year, David was on that trip and it got cancelled. So this year he's actually finally joined us on a trip that went ahead that was advertised. So, but it was funny because last year we flew down. So you fly out of Hobart, 45, 50-minute flight, light plane down to Melaleuca, which is right in that southwest corner. It's a dirt runway. Last year we flew down there and we just got all the way down to the runway and just did laps just outside on the bay. Couldn't get in. The weather was too bad. Came all the way back to Hobart and we had to cancel the trip. So David, the legend that he is, came back this year. He sucked it up and said, I'll give it another go. And I'm like, good. And we're flying down there and we get about 3/4 of the way down. I was in the front plane and he was in the second plane. And all I could see was these clouds building up where the runway was. And I'm like, oh shit, it's going to happen again. And from what I hear in David's plane on the two-way radio, he's like, oh, looks pretty cloudy down there. And for a moment there, it looked like we weren't going to get back in again. And I was just like, oh, this poor guy, he's going to 2 years in a row. But we got in there and it was an awesome weekend. We had some great conditions. We had lots of laughs. It was a great weekend. So, and thanks again to David for being patient and waiting 12 months. It was awesome. So
nice work, David. Dedication.
Very cool.
Love it.
It was, absolutely.
Who else is here? Robert Varner's here lurking. Good to see you. Lisa Leach, Good morning. Just a quick drop in for as long as I can get away with at work. Awesome. Jim's here. He said balls. Balls.
Yep.
Hey, Jim.
Monica's here. Matt
Hey,
Boyle, good to see
Mon's
you.
there. Yeah.
Yep. Craig Aliff. I don't know if we've seen Craig before. Do you know Craig? Craig
That
Aliff.
rings a bell.
Hello all.
The name
Hey,
looks
Craig.
familiar.
Oh,
Let us know
good
where
to
you're
see
from.
Craig. Glenn Lavender's here. Creative Photo Workshop says, I'm just here for the comments. And he's
Who's
also
that?
keen for...
Who's that guy?
Who's that guy? I don't know. He's always in the comments. I don't know if he's a photographer or just...
He's certainly not a photographer.
David Leperati says, good morning. It's good to see you, David.
Hey, David.
David's already sent through... Oh, this is a good time to plug the thing, Greg.
Yes,
David's
please.
already sent through his toy photo submission for this
Yes, I
week.
saw you guys did that. Yeah.
Yeah, you send one in. Come on, don't be, just grab a toy, take a photo. So if you would like to join in on our little toy photography challenge, all you have to do, grab a toy, take a photo of it, try and make it cool. Use a light or put it in a weird spot and do something cool. Explore your creativity and your photography somewhere around home or in a park or wherever you want. And email it to me, justin@luckystraps.com.au, and we're going to bring it up on the Monday, the Random Photography Show, this coming Monday. So you don't have much time. This is like a just get it done kind of challenge. Just go.
I
and
think
have-
you should
have
make it
fun
even
this
more
weekend.
challenging and say no Lego characters allowed.
Shit. Well, that would make
That would
what
really
I had
justify
planned very difficult.
Oh, really? That'll rule out about half the photos.
Well, it's just so easy because you can they got little hands and stuff.
I got one here,
I don't
little
know.
Lego man. Yeah.
Oh
There
yeah.
you go.
Yeah, little gearings. Yeah.
Look, I'm going to use the Lego character probably. I've got one
No,
other
that's
idea
true,
maybe,
look.
but
It's your show. You run it how you like.
well, we're just trying to start it off easy, Cam. We want people to give it a go.
Yeah.
So email it to me, justin@luckystraps.com.au. We'll bring them up Monday, 7:30 a.m. Melbourne time this Monday. So try and get them in by 5 p.m. Otherwise, you may or may not make it onto the show. But yeah, can't wait to see them all come flooding in. We've had a couple so far, and they are already way better than what I can do.
I've seen some of
there's
the
also
the lighting's getting quite creative. People are using sort of different gels and different. It's very cool. I like
Exactly. Yeah.
it. Do we
little-
still use
and if
gels
you
or
want
just
some-
LEDs now?
A bit of both. Some people use
okay.
gels, But if you want some guidance, if anyone wants any guidance, we've also got an article that I wrote over on the Lucky Straps blog page. So just head to luckystraps.com and in the About section, there's a blog menu, and there's an article in there about toy photography, about how I set it up, how I edit, how I shoot. So check that out. And that if you're looking for some tips or a bit of guidance,
a bit of inspiration, give you some ideas on how you can set things up and play around with backgrounds from your own other images. You can put a landscape photo, print it out, put it in the background, try and make it look like it's a real part of the scene, that kind of stuff. There's lots of fun stuff in Greg's article.
Fancy.
I was out yesterday doing
Very fancy.
some toy photography. I was doing it out in the streets.
Street photography.
Street toy photography.
Street toy photography. Nice.
Yeah.
Coming
John-
to you, BFOP 2026.
Yeah, I'm going to run a workshop. Why not?
Yeah. Final couple of comments. Philip Johnson says, morning all. Good morning, Philip. And last but not least, Paul says, hey guys, sorry can't make the live show today, but look forward to watching you guys give Cam a hard time on the catch up tonight.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yes. Oh, and Phil Thompson's here. Morning from Geelong. Look forward to what
Phil.
Cam has to say. Oh, you might change your mind once he starts saying
It'll be all rubbish, Phil. You might as well tune out now.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, Cam, you've got a pretty beard, but you've also got you've got quite a raft of skills and attributes that go along with the work that you do. You're a landscape and nature photographer. You're a tour and workshop operator. Sometimes you're a BFOP instructor when you show up. You also run when you're invited, the Down South photo show. With your mate. And so you've got a fair bit going on. Obviously, we want to roll back the clock a little bit and get to know where this all began for you, especially how you came to unfortunately be tied up with your podcast partner. But where did
That's a horror story.
The horror stories? Where did your photography journey begin? Was there inspiration growing up, or was it high school, or where did it start for you?
I think, and I've probably, people that know me probably know this story as well, but like my dad, Noel, he worked for Olympus for about 30 odd years. He was a sales rep in Melbourne for Rudolph Gunz, which used to be the distributor for many things. Olympus, they used to do Hoya filters, slick tripods, a heap of other stuff. So from as early as I can remember, we always had a bag of sample cameras in the car and the house that he used to take around to all the shops and, all the retail shops and, show the new models of the Olympus film cameras coming out. So I would have to say that my journey started with just picking up cameras as a kid, like you're mucking around with everything, like it's just another toy, really. So having that around, having what Dad had around, and I used to go, like on school holidays, I remember I used to go out with Dad on calls. I'd, go all around Melbourne. I'd visit all the camera shops. And I remember visiting Nigel in Croydon Camera House when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
Nigel's known me since I was a kid. My dad he's had a fairly good reputation in the industry. Everyone knew who my dad was and still do. So I think it sort of grew from that. And then I guess the evolution of it was, well, once I've picked up a camera, what do I do with this thing? And I did study photography at high school, but I probably started shooting film when I was about 13 or something like that, 13 or 14 maybe. And that would have been with one of Dad's cameras, and here's a roll of film, mate. Stop annoying us while we're out camping, go take some photos or go do something. And then, did it at high school, and then sort of just fell in love with it after that. But mostly, I think the starting point would have been because Dad worked in the industry. I think it's just natural that your kids sort of get involved with it somehow. So
Yep. Oh, very cool. And do you remember what that first camera was that you started taking shots with?
Yeah, the very first camera, I think that was mine. Like Dad had all the like he had the OM4s and the OM at the time. I think the OM3 and the OM4 were around about the sort of late 80s sort of thing that were out. And then they brought out all the IS 2000s and all the sort of the single lens zoom all in one type of cameras. And then he had lots of Mu cameras, the MJU cameras. There was heaps of those. But the first proper
rage now. They're super popular for like point and shoot film
Are
cameras.
they the little compacts with the slide covers the front?
They had a 35mm f2 really sharp little lens. They came in champagne or black. But they're worth a fortune now. But the first camera that I actually wound on, so to speak, I think Dad got me a Pentax K1000. And I think I used that in high school. I think that was my camera at high school. And then the first autofocus camera I had was an EOS 600 or an EOS 650, one of those two. But that was the first sort of black beast I had, Canon written on the front. I thought it was cool because I was shooting Canon. I found out quickly that that's not what makes you a cool photographer. So I used that for a while. No,
hear that, Justin? Hear that?
I had to get a Canon dig in there somewhere. I used that, and then from there, when I sort of left high school, I didn't go straight into uni, but I was actually, my first paying gig ever of any time was a photography gig. I was doing Santa Claus photos at the Warringal Shopping Centre in Heidelberg. At the Kodak Express there, Dad used to call on them and they said, "Oh, can you give my son a job taking Santa Claus photos over the school holidays?" So I was out the front of the shop, all the lights and stuff, and that was shooting a Nikon something F4 or F3 or something like that, another pretty fancy camera. But then I left high school and then I ended up working in Camera House in Melbourne, which is now DigiDirect, and I was managing the second-hand department with another amazing photographer, Adam Moore, who is still floating around these days. But he taught me a lot about the old cameras. And the first time I bought a camera that I really wanted, the first ever camera I bought was my Olympus OM3 Ti, which was like the flagship film camera that they ever released. And I've still actually got one here. And I bought a second one in Japan just last month. And that was the camera that probably got me really, really hooked. I was in a lucky situation because where I was working, I could get film at cost price. I can get developing at cost price. So I just buy a bunch of film every weekend and just go out and come back on Monday and develop them all and go, good, I got 1 out of 3 rolls right. Go out again and do the same thing. So yeah, it was an interesting journey when I was a bit younger, that's for sure.
Yeah, sounds it.
That's crazy that you were running or helping run or a second-hand photography, you must have seen so many different cameras, felt them in the hand, started to get a feel for that sort of stuff, what different brands feel like and all that sort of thing.
100%. And it was really good because Adam, like I said, Adam used to sort of buy and sell, and he still does to a point, I think, these days, buy and sell camera gear. Like he'd travel all over the world in his time off and go and get these exotic cameras and bring them back to Melbourne and sell them. And like, there was a big industry going on in those days. But something had come in, and I remember we had a box upstairs in our office. One was cameras for the window, and the other one was cameras for us. So we get trade-ins, and the trade-ins that come upstairs, like, like an M6 that'll go in our box, you know, like a Pentax, FE or something like that, or that'll just go into the other box for the window, whatever it might be. So we did. You're right. We got to play around with some really cool cameras. I remember we had a couple of those little Minox, those little spy cameras that took the microfilm. They used to get trade. People used to trade in all types of stuff. And because we did the trade-ins, we could sort of say, we like that camera. Because if we traded it in for less, our boss, Paul Clayton, who's still involved with DigiDirect as well, he used to watch us like a hawk about what we traded in and how much we traded it in for. But if we wanted something that we wanted, we'd give them a fairly good trade-in price or low trade-in price that helped us buy it later on our staff account without breaking our bank. So it was a complete conspiracy to make sure that we benefited from what was traded in versus what the customer got. So
it's a perk of the job.
That's right.
It was.
But
we do. One of the other good things about it was I learned how to sort of fix cameras as well. Like we sort of had to service them and there was a thing, I think it was called a sensor meter, where you actually put the camera on and test all the shutter speeds and it'd give you a speed readout. And so we had to sort of clean them and sort of service them a bit before they went in the window. So that was also really cool to learn about just how the insides of a camera work. Like I think the insides of a camera, like especially the old classic ones, I think that would be it's like watches, like a fine watch and how they work. The camera's the same, and I think that's what I fell in love with more so. And again, like a lot of people will sort of suggest that I'm somewhat of an artist, but I really don't class myself as an artist. I'm just a lover of cameras, I think, and what they can produce. I think the magic of the whole process to me is what gives me a buzz, as opposed to necessarily what I can photograph. And I think that all stemmed from playing around with them and pulling them apart and watching little springs go fly out across the other side of the room, and having to find it, crawl on the ground to find the spring that doesn't let the camera work. And so it's a bit of a mixed love, really, like how they work and the magic of it all. And obviously, shooting nature's beautiful as well.
It's interesting what you mentioned about comparing cameras to watches. That there's a couple of people I follow on Instagram, and one of them is a guy who repairs, I think he's in China, but he repairs like really expensive Rolexes and all those fancy watch brands. And it's fascinating watching him pull them apart, and the pieces are so bloody tiny. And then he cleans everything and he puts them back together. And I just find it so compelling. Like I can't take my eyes off it. Might start watching the camera repair videos next.
Question from Dennis. Cam, do you think a connection with that process and technical stuff actually makes you a more considered photographer?
Good question.
Good question, Dan. I like Dennis's questions. I think it does. I think in my opinion, to be a better photographer, I think you need, and I guess with any sort of art form that you play, or any dedication to something, if you understand how the apparatus works, you're going to likely do better at using it. So I think knowing how a camera works and understanding the ins and outs of them. And I also went and studied a few years later after I left high school, and that was all around the science of photography. So learning not only how the cameras work and understanding how the mechanisms work and appreciating that, and then learning a bit more, or learning a lot about how the science of it all works, how light works and color and wavelengths and all that kind of stuff, chemicals reacting, understanding all that before I actually I think I got mature enough to figure out what my brain would like to see. I think that put me in a good place to go out there and say, right, well, I know all the technical stuff now, and I know how it all works, and I know how all the magic happens. Now it's a matter of I'll just find what I like and start photographing. But I think having that connection between understanding the camera, I think definitely made me a bit more of a considered photographer. And I know I'm very much, I wouldn't say I'm a slow photographer, but I think I'm a bit slower than most people, where I don't just spray and pray and think, oh, there's a great shot there, I'll just take 10 shots and get one. Like I still shoot like I'm shooting film. Like I do take my time. You know, if I go, like I went down to the Southwest with David, who mentioned that before, you know, I would have taken 300 shots, 200 shots in 3 days of this incredible landscape. But my hit rate, I think, is a lot better because of that. I don't have to edit and don't have to cull so much, because I'm just taking the shots that I know will be nice, as opposed to spraying them and then figuring it out later. So yeah, a bit more considered.
And when it comes to your editing, do you edit with a heavy or a light hand?
I'm very light. So I do a 2-day session down here with customers, where we go out one day and then we come into the office here and do some editing and printing. Like any images that you might have seen of mine online or wherever, if I've spent more than 2 minutes editing, 3 minutes editing, like I kick myself, because I've probably done something wrong in the field. So I like to try and get it right in camera. Not saying I want it straight out of camera, but you know, you've got to watch those highlights. You've got to watch the edge of your frames. You've got to watch your sharpness, your depth of field. You know, you got to watch all those things. And I think I've been doing it long enough now where it's just sort of comes natural. But my editing process is light. It's very tempered to being natural. I want my images to look how I saw them. I don't, you know, there's nothing against. I know Jeff was on here last week or so talking about, he did his little video he's done about taking those really high popular shots where everyone's sort of over editing and oversaturating and doing those big vistas and stuff like that. They all look good, but to me, I'm a bit like Jeff in a way that less is more sometimes, where it comes to photography. And yeah, I always encourage customers to, you know, if they get a chance, go shoot a roll of film these days. Like, actually really test yourself. If you want to see how good a photographer you are, go put a roll of film through. It'll cost you $1,000 these days, but go put a roll of film through a camera and actually see what, and actually see what kind of results you get. I always get a real buzz. Like I've actually got 6 rolls of film that are probably due back today from Japan that I took over there. I get such a buzz out of getting my film back, as opposed to putting a memory card in. Like a memory card is like, hey, I already saw that on the back of the screen, and I've already looked at it on the phone. That's great. I've already lived that moment. But when you get that bit of film back and you're like, holy shit, I'm actually all right at this. I've got, you know, 7 rolls and I've got, you know, 3 usable shots. I'm a photographer. You know, it's incredible. So
it's a delayed gratification, isn't it?
Yeah. I want to ask about that, and sort of, and you know, you shoot with Leica, which is crazy, so expensive and so cool. And I have 2 questions about Leica that I want to ask before, because I've got to go in about 7 minutes, and then I'll leave you guys to it. Cool. But so first one, let's start with the film one. Are you ever tempted by, what's the model of the Leica that's basically an M11 but with no screen on the back?
So that's the M11P, I think.
P. Are you ever tempted by that, to have that sort of similar feel but without the screen?
Yeah, 100%. I considered actually trading in my M11 to get something like that. Again, it's just that whole process. It's just I don't know what I'm getting. Like
and you like that.
I like that. But that was the magic of photography when it came out. It's like, here's a moment I want to capture. I think I've captured it right, and I don't know until I get back home or a few days later. And I think there's the magic of the light and all that kind of stuff hitting the sensor and or the film and coming through the optics. But the other magic part of that is when you get that shot back. It's a lovely feeling when you get a shot back that you connect with, and you go, wow, that was a great shot. I really enjoyed that. And I remember how I was feeling. I remember what the temperature was like. You know, I remember the customer nagging me in the background. I was trying to get this great shot, you know, whatever it might be. But yeah, I thought about getting something like that. But alas, I've still got the M11 to use for that. It gives you the screen. But I do turn that screen off a lot. Sometimes I sort of just shoot through the viewfinder, and away we go.
Yeah, which I guess is functionally the same, but just it's got the temptation there.
Yes, that's right.
And there's a lot to be said for knowing your focal distance. You know, I mostly only shoot with 35mm full frame equivalent Fuji lenses, so 23s, and I've used them so much shooting, but I can pretty much know what's going to be and what's not. You know, you get used to that focal distance. You get used to the because you shoot it so often that you can just go, this is going to be in frame.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
What's your go-to film for your film?
Go to film. I do like. Well, it depends. If I'm doing street stuff, like an Ilford 400 black and white would be pretty cool. I think is it FP4 or something like that.
There's HP5, FP4, and then I've been using Delta.
The one that's a C41 process one. I'm not paying money for someone to develop it, which I think that's notable. I might be the XP2 or something like that. Anyway, and then nature-wise, I try and stick to Fuji Provia. So Fuji Provia 100. And the reason behind that is one of my biggest inspirations would be Peter Dombrovskis, the late great Tasmanian photographer. He shot a lot of his stuff on medium format on Provia 100. Early days Velvia 100, but Provia 100 for me, I love. It's a really lovely feel. And when I had my Fuji GFXs, I used to shoot that profile religiously through that camera as well. But again, it just gives me that natural result. Like I'm not all for big saturations. I'm not all for over grainy or sort of pop arty kind of looks. I like what I see. I like what my eyes see is what I like to see, and that's what I try and capture. Yeah.
And Provia is what you think you see. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Final question before I have to take off on that kind of realm of profiles and things. So I love the JPEG profiles that are included and the newer ones that are coming from Leica with the Q3. Really love the look, particularly of, I can't remember what it is. I think it's like an Ektar style, kind of vibe or something like that. Like it's fairly vibrant, has a great look, and I have not been able to replicate it in Lightroom at all. Right. How do you process your Leica files? Do you ever shoot JPEG and RAW, or do you only shoot RAW and then just have you used the JPEG profiles from Leica?
I haven't touched them much. The only profile I'll get into on my Leica is I'll shoot in black and white. I'll use their black and white profile just so I can see the black and white shot as I'm doing it, not in color. But most of my stuff is raw. If I'm on a trip where I want to share stuff pretty quickly online, I might shoot raw and JPEG just so I can just get files up without really doing much editing. But it's mostly raw that I shoot. And then I don't have any profiles myself, but I do have a process of editing. I like to sort of keep some things quite standard through my edits, and then it's just highlight, shadows, bit of color adjustments, and whatever else we need to do. So yeah.
And you use for editing?
So I'm using Lightroom, mate, predominantly all Lightroom, pretty much. Yeah.
You don't need Photoshop for the way that you process your files.
Nah. So my it's all through Lightroom, and then if anything, I might I might chuck it out into Topaz for a bit of sharpening or something like that, or a few little adjustments like that. But the chunk of what I do would be in Lightroom, and like I said, it's 2-minute process. I found that if I shoot consistently in the field, then your edits become very consistent too. You have that real sort of feel and style with your shots from the camera to edit. So you sort of know what your file's going to be like before you touch them. So you know what adjustments are going to be needed. So, and again, it's just all repeat and practice and repeat and practice and repeat. And, you get to a point where you know what works for you, and you know what sort of files you like to work with, and everything becomes a lot more streamlined and easier to do.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Well, I think we're going to kick Justin out now because he has places to be and things to do.
Yep. I'll be listening when I can, and I'll catch you this afternoon, Greg. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the rest of your chat. I'll be in there listening. I'll be in the live chat.
Now that the adults can have a chat, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, don't let Greg talk about Fujifilm for the entire episode. And
okay. We'll just bag Canon out for the other half.
Oh no! Nothing I can do about that. And then otherwise, this is probably a good time to throw in a quick ad read. Lucky Camera Straps. This whole podcast is brought to you by Lucky Camera Straps. So if you need a nice leather camera strap, something comfortable that doesn't have bulky hardware all over it, and it's easy to attach and detach and doesn't leave little dingly danglies all over the camera, go to luckystraps.com. There's lots of different ones to choose from. They're quite comfortable. So, they'll help you carry your camera everywhere you want to go, even Japan if you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Indeed.
Get into that
Indeed.
market. That'd be good.
Use
Yeah.
code Greg for a cheeky discount.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's on me.
Yeah,
on me.
use code Greg. And then
100%
you
off.
can keep the conversation going with this great question from LTK Photo, and I'll catch you later.
Cool. Thanks, mate.
All
Good
right.
luck.
All
Thank
right.
God he's
Oh,
gone, eh? Well, we
Oh,
can-
I know. Gosh, that guy can go on.
doesn't he?
Can see him in
Unbelievable.
the he's wetting himself. Hey, Justin. Bye. Safe travels. LTK Photo popped a question in. We're on the Leica train. Any thoughts on the EP1?
Well, I've got one, actually. I bought one. So I've got the M11 and I've got the EV1. Why, I don't know, but I probably need to get rid of one of them, but it's harder to do than you'd like. I like it. Yeah, the viewfinder's good. The resolution of the viewfinder is not bad. There is moments where you feel like it's not high enough resolution to get that sort of sharp image that you want to look at. But it is good. I like the fact that you can really chuck on those wide angle lenses post sort of 35 or 21 and be able to see what you're shooting. You don't need an external viewfinder to chuck on top. But I like it. It feels Leica. It feels the same as the M11 in a way. The battery life's maybe a tad less because it's running that little viewfinder as well. But overall, yeah, I like it. I also took that to Japan as well to have a bit of a play around with that. But yeah, it's good. It's good. It's like, again, they're stupidly expensive, and they're not for everyone, which I get. But they're good little fun toys to play with. So yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's good camera.
So follow up for that, given how many Leica lenses for the M mount, for the M series, are outside of those typical crop lines that you see through an OVF optical viewfinder, do you think that that's the future for Leica to stick with every time they bring out a new M model that there's going to, or new M generation, I should say, that there's going to be an EV version of it?
I would suggest maybe not. I would say maybe this will be just that one line that they go with. They might do like an EV2 or anything like that, but I would suggest that the M line with the rangefinder optical viewfinder, I think they're going to definitely continue that. That's them. That's their tradition.
Yeah.
But it does make it a lot easier. Like I like to shoot quite wide in my landscapes, maybe 21, 18, 16 mil, whatever it might be. And just having that ability to not have to, look at the back of the screen or, have an external optical viewfinder on top, and you can just look through the viewfinder itself. It's a big help, that's for sure. Especially, again, if you're doing street photography with ultra wide and stuff like that, you're not sort of holding it out. I hate people with cameras who hold them out there, big screen. My mate Jamie, who I was telling you before, helped build my office. He's constantly looking at the back of the screen. I'm always yelling at him, put the bloody thing up to your eye, look through the viewfinder, mate. That's what it's for, but he just holds it out in front of him with this big screen. I'm like, all right, that's you. But so yeah, I don't think
take photos like a tourist.
Yeah,
hold the camera at
that's
arm's length.
So I don't think they're going to completely. I doubt they would ever get rid of that M line with rangefinder optical viewfinders, but they might continue this line of EVFs into a second or third model maybe. But it's good. It's clever. Like what they've done is good. They've sort of taken the Q3 EVF and squeezed it down a little bit and put it back into like an M series, which is cool. So you never know, but I don't think it's their main direction.
It makes me wonder whether they'd ever go with like the hybrid viewfinder like Fuji X100s have and have had for almost a decade. No more than a decade, I think. They've got the hybrid where it drops the digital screen into the optical viewfinder.
That's very cool. That is very cool. And to be honest, I probably would have liked that on the EV1. I reckon that would have been a very cool combination to have. But then I guess it's sort of almost taking the M series out then. If they're going to put it all in one camera, that's sort of all their eggs in one basket there a bit. But yeah, I did have some Fuji. I had an X Pro 1, X Pro 2, X Pro 3, and that was very cool where you had that sort of it's very, very, very well done.
And hopes for an X Pro 4. Hopefully we hear about that this year. It's longer
Yeah,
than YouTube.
okay.
Yeah, we've got a Fuji film coming up. There's one here in Melbourne at the start. There's actually an online event happening where they typically that's coming up soon. So I'll be glued to that one. But again, Leica being like at least one camera that has a hybrid viewfinder when you can release two.
Yeah. Well, that's right. And they don't make truckloads of them either. So I don't know. I don't know how that EV one is selling. I've seen mixed reviews online from it as well. So whether or not it's just a one-off thing they try, and then maybe they just go, no, we'll just stick back to the Q series and the M series and just leave it as that, maybe. But it'll be interesting to see what Fuji bring out as well. As long as they get rid of that silly flip-up screen, or do something a bit different with that. On that last model, they had the screen that wasn't there with just a little film. I thought it was cool, but a bit gimmicky as well. So, he's back. That was quick.
Oh, what's going on?
Oh, sorry, I'm only back just quick. Your audio's cutting in now a little bit, Greg. So I thought I'd just jump back in. And
it is a little bit.
Yes. You might have to even jump out of the studio and jump back in. And I'll just I'll hold the fort down while you do that.
I was trying to make my way. I was trying to read lips as we're going along, Justin. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I was just listening and I was like, oh no. So I thought I'd jump back in. But yeah,
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure it was my end or his end, but yeah.
It is super interesting that they that they didn't go for that optical and EVF style, or maybe it's in the something they're working on. But on the other hand, do they just look at it like, hey, why would we want someone to buy one camera when they could potentially buy two?
Yeah, which is what this idiot did. So
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a cool camera, but there is maybe there's some issues with people not liking that. That's for sure.
Yeah, don't know. With the X Pro 4, that is a camera that could definitely tempt me to the dark side if it's basically what the X Pro 3 was with a little bit of upgrades. I don't even want much more than that. I just haven't bought an X Pro 3 because they've been so hard to get and the price is so high for a camera that's quite old. I'm like, well, I might as well wait till a 4 comes out and you can just buy one. Instead of
or watch all the 3s come online cheaper because everyone wants the 4.
Yeah,
exactly. How's your audio sound now, Greg?
Well, it always sounded fine to me, but is it any?
You're hearing it before it goes through the internet, but no, that sounds better.
Yeah, that's how ears work.
All right. That sounds better.
Okay, I'll leave you to it.
Go.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
See ya.
There you go.
Oh, lots of gear talk this morning. Here's our mate Dennis. Cam, I have been playing with the Q1, and I'm excited about shooting some landscape with it. Do you ever intentionally shoot black and white landscape?
I do. I do shoot a fair bit of black and white landscape. I think we've all been admired or all inspired by Ansel Adams in the day with his black and white landscapes. So I do shoot a little bit, and that's what I was saying before we adjusted with the profiles I use. I will shoot in a black and white profile so I can actually see it. I don't do very well black and white landscapes if I come home in color and then go, oh, maybe that'll work in black and white, or maybe that'll work in black and white. I like to be out in the field and be shooting black and white, so I can see the light and I can see the tones through the viewfinder or on the screen as they're happening. It can be, and people can do it, but it's quite tricky to be able to take your color eyes off when you're looking at color and just see tones and things like that. So I actually really like black and white landscape photography, and I find myself going through moments where I'm like, oh, this I just feel like shooting black and white. I did actually own the M10 monochrome for a little while, purely for that reason. I just wanted to be able to shoot nothing but black and white. But then I got, that was a bit too restricted for me, so I ended up going back to the M11. So, but yeah, black and white all the way. It's good fun.
Very cool. Just a gear topic. I hope you don't mind, but getting lots of gold out of this conversation. You mentioned earlier, you had the opportunity to shoot with the original O3.
Yeah.
Have you shot with the newer one, and where do you stand on it with the remake, the digital remake?
Well, Yes. See, my relationship with Olympus these days isn't as lovely as it used to be. I don't have any Olympus gear anymore. I sold it all. I've got all my film gear. I've got a cabinet of film gear just here. But I was really excited when the OM3 came out, and I bought one straight away. I'm like, I've got to get one of these because I've got the original OM3. It's that whole push back to tradition and stuff like that. It was a bit of a disappointment to me. It's a lovely camera. It's made beautifully. It feels great. Its handling in your hand is really bad. Like, it's really nothing to grab onto. It's a little bit disappointing in that way, but it's a beautiful camera. But I just found that the handling of it was a bit too slippery for me, and things like that. It would have made a great one to keep in the kit for a bit of street photography or travel photography. But it just wasn't for me. But I would have loved if they brought out like a titanium version of that, like a real, send back to that old OM3 Ti, which was that sort of gunmetal grey. And I think Olympus are missing, or OM Systems. I think they've missed so many moments where they could have just blown the industry apart with cool cameras. Like, I know you guys mentioned the pen camera the other day that they're thinking of bringing out. That's 5 years too late. That should have been brought out yonks ago. They're chasing their tail a bit, but I still like the OM system camera. I think their system of cameras is one of the best cameras I've ever owned. Their lenses are fantastic. Their functions and features are, second to none with what you can do. Inbuilt stabilizers and inbuilt neutral densities and starry autofocus. Like, they've got so much that goes for them. I think my issue with them at the moment, or has been for a while, is I think they're marketing it to the wrong people, and the wrong people are promoting the gear, which, they're trying to sell it to the young hipster traveler, and they're not those kind of cameras. Like, they're really, they're an amazing wildlife camera. They're an amazing camera for lightweight travel, and things like that. So I sort of got a bit fast. For birding, fast, lightweight. The AI bird tracking in those OM1 Mark IIs. I'm lucky because I get to play with everyone's camera when they come on workshops. So people have all types of cameras, and that AI bird tracking is still the stickiest and fastest by a long way in any camera I've picked up in my hand. Maybe I haven't used them correctly, but in my experience, combined with one of the nice lenses that Olympus have, it's a great combo. But I just sort of got a bit fed up with them all, and so it's just disappointing. I may go back and buy their gear again one day, but at the moment, the other thing as well, like, they've had the same sensor pretty much for the last few models as well. They've tweaked it a bit and changed it a bit, but it's still a 20 megapixel sensor, and Panasonic and others are bringing out higher resolutions, and I just feel like, and I know why. Obviously, they're not Olympus as they used to be. They're just a smaller version of themselves, which they probably don't have the budgets for, research and stuff like that. But I mean, having a smaller customer base is going to hamper your ability to, to expand into new areas. There's another megapixel race on, Fuji based models are now up at 40 megapixels, and Leicas are up at 60, and then medium formats becoming more and more accessible thanks to Fujifilm's GFX range, and then you're looking at 50 or 100 megapixel. That's right.
Justin and I got to play with the OM3. We had it for about a month. We both had it for a couple of weeks. Beautiful camera, clever. Agree with the handling, especially with that little dial in the front, the mode color change dial. It was hard knurled plastic, and it just grated your finger when you were holding it.
And then to try and get a hand grip for it, like there was no aftermarket grips apart from one or two, and they were $300 or $400 each. Like, it was some ridiculous amount. So it's a bit disappointing. And like I said, lovely camera. And like I said, I got one as soon as it came out just to play with it, but I had it for a week and I just went, this just doesn't feel right in the hand. It's almost like it was a camera not to be used. It's like, this is what the old cameras look like. We've made a digital version. It's a bit of a gimmick. You can play around with it. It takes nice photos, but you don't want to hang on to it for more than a day. Otherwise you're either going to drop it or get sick of it. So, but maybe they'll bring out a different, hopefully they take a bit of feedback on from people that have bought them and bring out a version 2 or something like that. That might be interesting, but no, who knows?
I'd be very keen to see what they do bring out that is pen related, especially fixed lens. There's a real demand in the market at the moment for fixed lens compact cameras. We've been talking about that a lot over the last few weeks. I think Loon just dropped one a couple of days ago.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
it's coming out, and that's a really compelling offering. For people that are looking for those compact, portable, travel, everyday carry kind of cameras. There's a real gap in the market at the moment.
Yeah.
Let's go back to talking about your journey a little bit, Cam. So, you've left school, your cameras are in your blood, thanks to your dad. Did you, and you're working at the, in the secondhand space at the store. Did you ever branch out to shoot events, weddings, babies, any of those sort of standard genres? What was that part of your career like?
I did. In my career thus far, I've pretty much shot any genre of photography you can think of. I've had a crack at. But I remember I did my first wedding when I was still working at Camera House. I did that in the Parliament Gardens there in Melbourne. Did a wedding. I would have been maybe 19, 20 years old maybe when I did that. Over the journey, I reckon I've shot about 120 odd weddings over the journey.
Oh, wow.
I did lots in Melbourne and did lots down here in Tassie. Was lucky enough, I got to go to a few places like Fiji and New Zealand and a few other places overseas to shoot weddings for people. So I did a lot of weddings. When I was working in town, after I left Camera House, I got a job working in the government, working in child support agency, part of DHS. But on my lunch breaks there, I got a gig when Docklands was all building up with all the new apartments. I got a gig shooting all those for the local real estate. So I jump on the brown tram, the City Circle tram, and go down in my lunch break, shoot 3 or 4 apartments, come back and go back to work. So I did. And then I did a fair bit of real estate work around Greensboro, where I grew up, and out that way with some real estates there. Did portrait stuff, did model portrait portfolios for some models around the region that I was in Melbourne. Everyone had a baby that I knew growing up, so they were all getting their baby shots. So I've done all the baby shots. And I've done commercial work down here, like places like the iconic Cradle Mountain Lodge. Shot the whole property there for their $20-odd million rebuild that they did. Did all their food photography for their websites and menus. I've done some other places down here in Tassie where I've done food photography. You name it, I've pretty much done it at some stage. I've had my hand in, and I think a bit of advice for anyone, if there is anyone listening, but a bit of advice for people, if you are a photographer and, depending on, it doesn't even matter what level or what stage you are, just give something a go. Like, the amount of people that say, I'd never shoot a wedding, that's just crazy. Give it a go. Like, set the expectations with the bride and groom that they might be family friends or something like that. But the amount, what you learn out of shooting different genres in photography is guaranteed to help whatever your passion genre is, whatever you love doing. These other ones that you shoot will definitely help you get better at that as well. Like shooting landscapes for me, that's my thing. But I went and started doing a series of nude photography. I did like a series of nude models in landscape. So I think I called it Beautiful People in Beautiful Places. And because I knew how to shoot landscapes,
it's like a BFOP workshop.
Well, I've raised it with Matt and Nick a couple of times. They're a bit worried about the nude bit, but I'd like to do that as a workshop at BFOP. I think it'd be great.
That'd be amazing.
But because I had the skills to do the landscapes and I'd shot so many portraits and weddings, it was just like, well, this is easy. Find a great landscape, put this beautiful person there, done. Yeah. Like it was really, really quite simple. And the response I got out of that series of work over about a year or two was really, really positive. Everyone's like, these are just beautiful. They're not distasteful. You couldn't see much. It was all really sort of quite discreet, but it just had these beautiful people and body shapes in this beautiful landscape. So, without doing the landscapes, without doing the weddings and the portraits and stuff, I probably wouldn't have had the guts to go and try and do that sort of series of shots. So I always say to people, give it a crack. If someone comes to you and says, do you want to come and do a family portrait of us? I know you do photography. Give it a go. Like the worst you can do is, not get it right and say sorry. Like it's not the end of the world. So I found by doing that, I got a lot of experience over a lot of years just trying different things, whether or not it was, doing, like I said, the Santa Claus photos at the very start, or, doing portraits of family, friends and babies. I've done aerial work for companies down here. I've hung out outside of helicopters doing surveying work for farms and things like that. I did some work for Parks and Wildlife down here, where they helicoptered me on top of a mountain and said, here you go, you got 4 days to get out, take some photos for us. So just by saying yes a lot and putting your name out there has really opened up a hell of a lot of doors for me. So you got to jump in there and try it. That's for sure.
Yep. And like you said, elevates your camera craft. It elevates how you see the world, and when you're making compositions, the more you try to learn. Quick question in the chat from Justin, because we just can't get rid of it. What made you stop weddings?
I think I've got
to do that in a squeakier voice. What made you stop weddings?
And hold your beard out the way, and shave your beard off. Yeah. I think I just run that race. Like, I've done a lot, and it started to get very competitive, especially down here in Tassie when I was still doing them. The whole wedding market got really, really competitive, and you had all these, quite a few backyard photographers who are, I'll do your wedding for $500. I've got zero training and zero stuff, but I've bought some presets, so I'm okay. I'll be able to do it for you. And it sort of became, I'm like, I was still working sort of full time, and I was still doing some workshops and stuff like that. I was like, I don't really need this anymore. And it sort of, the last couple of years of doing weddings became almost just doing friends of friends. Like, oh, you shot Bob's wedding, can you come and shoot my wedding? Oh yeah, I'll give it a go. So I didn't really advertise much anymore, and I sort of just let it die a bit, because I just didn't have the energy or time to compete with other people that were, undercutting the market, but also, they also had big advertising budgets, so they were happy to throw thousands of dollars to get their name out there. So and it wasn't my thing, like, it wasn't my passion. So it was a meal ticket for a while, but I just enjoyed it while it was. I met some really great people, had some really memorable weddings, had some really shocking weddings where we had people that were just terrible. We had really wonderful weddings where, everyone's crying at the same time, and lovely backdrops of some weddings. So there were some really lovely moments. Probably the biggest thing I got out of weddings, though, was just really, really understanding reactions of people. Like a lot of people have said, oh, you shot lots of weddings, what, wasn't it hard each time, or wasn't it nerve-wracking? I'm like, well, not really. It's the same play, just different people every time. Like, the same things happen in unless it's really unique, it's the same wedding every time. The bride will cry at the same time. The groom will get teary when she reads out the vows, and they'll all laugh when the celebrant says something silly, or as the night gets on, the drunk auntie or uncle will do something and fall over, and like, there's all these things that happen through all the weddings that if you focus enough and take note of that, it really becomes like a play. Like, you're working through scene by scene, and you're just capturing those moments that are going to happen. So I found that was a really cool, a real cool skill to pick up, that, and you can use it down in everyday life. If I'm doing the workshops where I am now, I can pick up when people are like getting what I'm saying or not getting what I'm saying, or just by their personal reactions to where we are, like down at the Southwest, we had just the other week, we had this real foggy morning, super moody, super everything. And, I could have sat on this boat and told them all about how to shoot in the fog and do all this and do all that, but it didn't require that, because I could just see the reaction on people like, this is an incredible moment. And we're just floating along. There's, we had a big sea eagle fly past us and sit in the tree, and he just sat there for 10 minutes while we took photos of him. I'm like, we don't need to teach anything. We don't need to teach anything here. We just need to enjoy this moment. So I think I got a lot of that out of hanging around so many reactive people from weddings and portraits and stuff like that you can sort of read your customers' moments as well.
It's interesting. A lot of workshop instructors we've spoken to over the past couple of years of this podcast have reflected on moments like that, where they've ones that comes to mind. He was running a workshop, or when he runs his workshops, he often they'll land a small plane on a glacier in New Zealand or somewhere else, and they'll all get out and they'll all take their photos, or they'll all get their camera gear out. But he'll say, once we've done this, we're going to just put the cameras away. We're just going to sit
Yeah.
and enjoy for 20, 30 minutes before we get back on the plane and pick up our vomit bags. And I really love that. I love that concept of, you know, you see a beautiful landscape and you photograph the landscape and you see it through an EVF or on a screen, and then you take it home and you see it on a computer, but do you really see it without any of that stuff? You know,
that's right.
It's about sort of getting out of the photographer's mind every now and then.
Yeah, like I think if you're running tours and workshops and things like that, if you're not encouraging your guests to do that, to you know, yes, we're here with cameras, but the cameras, it's just a tool. It's got nothing to do with what we're feeling and seeing. It's just capturing what we're feeling and seeing. We do it on a lot of our trips where, like even on the same trip down at the Southwest last week, Joe, who's one of my great customers, we were sitting on top of this hill watching this incredible sunset over this absolute vast wilderness of mountains and Bathurst Harbour and all that kind of stuff. And they had a bottle of wine with them, a couple of glasses there. It was a really nice, relaxing sunset type of thing. And she just came up and sat next to me on a rock. She goes, "How effing good is this? This is amazing."
Yeah.
And she did, her camera was on the tripod 20 meters away. She had no interest in taking a photo. Just like, I've just got to sit here and take this in. And like a lot of our guests, like they're all workers or semi-retired or maybe retired, but you know, they all still sort of live in the rat race. So you take them out of that rat race and put them into this incredible wilderness. You can see it. It takes them a couple of days to chill. And then once they get, you know, some get there quicker than others, but once they get to that chill level, like the experience just increases, because it's just like, this is what I'm here for. I don't get this at home. Why the hell don't I do this more often? And, you know, that's where we facilitate that if we can.
Yeah. No, that's lovely. Now, speaking of tours, and Den's just pointing out that my audio is off again. Is anyone else
a little bit scratchy, but I can. Yeah, it's working okay.
All right, I'll stick with it for the moment, Den. Let me know if it gets worse. Workshop. So, what was the first workshop that you ever organised and ran? Did you do it solo, or did you do it with an experienced workshop instructor?
No, I do things the hard way. I did it solo, and I did it for free. That's how stupid I am. So the first one I ever did was here in Tassie. So I moved from Melbourne down to Tassie with my wife. That was 2012. I think we moved down here, and I wanted to come down here, and we just wanted a bit of a tree change, sea change, and cheaper housing. We didn't want to live in in the big city and stuff. And I originally my whole plan was to do photography landscape tours along the overland track. So walk people along that track for 6 days, teach them all about landscape photography, get them to experience the incredible overland track walk and things like that. But that was a bit of setup needed. I need to get obviously permits and licenses to do that. But so the first one I put out down here when I got here. I'm like, look, I'm new to Tassie. I'm looking to start my little workshop business up. And I did 2 or 3 of them where we just went out to Mount Field and out further to Lake Pedder out into the southwest. Just a whole day trip. Just come along, self-drive. I'll teach you as much as I can in the day about what I know about photography, cameras, and all that kind of stuff. And I think the first one we did had like 30 or 40 people. It was a ridiculous amount of people rocked up, to the point where we were the Lake Pedder car park. I'm pretty sure we had no room at the end of the road to park all the cars. Like people were parking it down around the corner a bit. And I went, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. And then we did another one which had maybe about 15, 20 people. And then we did another one where we had similar sort of numbers again. And I thought, right, well, there's obviously, people obviously want to get out, and they want the excuse to go out, and they want someone to maybe take them out. And that's where I sort of put together. So the overland track walk was one thing, but the very first paid workshop I did would have been one at Cradle Mountain, which would have been a 4-day Cradle Mountain workshop, probably in the autumn time when we got the Fagus tree and all the colors were out there. And then it sort of just grew from there. I'm really lucky that it sounds like I'm kissing backside here, but I am lucky. I've got, an incredible bunch of customers who really just inspire me to take them different places. Like all the places I go now have all been mostly inspired by customers saying, "Hey, I've done all your Tassie trips. Have you ever done this place? Or have you ever thought about going to Japan?" I'm like, cool, we can do that. Let me see what I can put together, and away we go. So
isn't that a beautiful progression of what you do for a living, that you're being inspired? I mean, they're probably gaining so much info and knowledge and insight from you. In return, you get a lot out of it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's like I don't do any. I've never done any advertising of any sort, really. I might have done one little magazine one little magazine advert back in the day, probably Australian Photography magazine or something like that. But my business has grown purely on the back of customers just wanting to do more. And you can't thank them enough for that. They're the perfect customers that you want, where they keep driving you to grow your business because it benefits them to go to these places that you take them. So, and then, we've been lucky over the time as well. We've grown a customer list, but we've also grown some really lovely relationships with other businesses as well. Like the weekend one, that was with Par Avion, they're the only people that fly in and out of the Southwest. We did a Franklin River rafting photography tour for 10 years where we had Franklin River Rafting Company, which we're really good friends with. They sort of gave us exclusivity on taking us down the river. They said, look, we'll take you and that's it. No other group can go down with photographers as such. We've got some really lovely relationships around the place with hotels, and, we've built some really nice relationships with little cafes in Stanley and, all these different places in Bright and, all those kind of things where it's a lovely, you come back next year and you walk in, hey, Cam, how you going? And it's, oh, you got some new people. Who are these lovely? And like, it just becomes a really lovely moment. So,
well, you're building,
we've been really lucky,
aren't you?
Yeah. Without knowing it. Yeah, we have.
And supporting local and all of that.
Yeah. Like we enter the tourism awards down here quite a lot every year. Pretty much we've done it. And it's like a 10,000 word application. It's a nightmare. And shout out to Chelsea, who's one of the ladies that helps me. She's incredible at writing all these things. She's a very smart lady, but she puts all this application together. She just takes my words, rejumbles it to sound good, and puts it on paper. But one of the things we have to put in that application is, do we support local businesses and hospitality and stuff like that? And I'm like, oh yeah, we go there. And I sort of said a few things, and Chelsea's like, you support heaps. And she put this list together with a map around Tassie and these little dot points of where we went. And we cover the whole state of people that we support through our business and vice versa. And it wasn't until then I went, this is a community. Like, this is us putting money back into there. We're bringing people to Tassie and vice versa. So it's very cool. Yeah.
So you've run tours all over the world, in the Americas, obviously Japan more recently. We missed you at BFOP last, because I think you were in Scotland at the time.
That's true. Yeah, I was in Scotland.
Yeah, you were. And obviously all this you do around Tasmania. What are kind of your top 2 or 3 bucket list destinations that you'd love to run a tour?
I actually got asked this question the other day, but I think it might have been on that trip we've just been on. I've got a real inkling to go to Patagonia. I think that'd be very cool to see. The one thing about my places I'd like to go with customers, I don't necessarily like to go to the real populated locations. Like, there's nothing worse than rocking up to this classic view and you've got 5 deep tripods, and I like to try and put people where it's not that busy but still spectacular. So Patagonia would be great, but I know it would be quite busy. Antarctica is always on the bucket list to get down there. That'd be probably number 1 to tick that off, just because it's so unique and so hard to get to in ways with people. So, well, you're
already halfway there. So, from Melbourne, you're already halfway.
On a clear day, you can see it if you look out my door. Sure. Those 2 would be pretty good. Things like Alaska and all that kind of northern Canada and things like that would be nice. I'm off to India next year with Glyn Lavender. We're doing a joint trip to India next year. So I'm really excited about that.
Have you been before?
I've never been to India, so that's a new one for me.
Wow, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, so, and I'm putting all my trust in Glyn. He's been there so many times. And speaking of my old days, a shout out to Glyn if he's still watching. But when I first started at Camera Action Camera House, Glyn was the person that trained me. He took me under his wing on the sales floor, and he was the first guy that I sort of knew at Camera House. And then that was a bit of a full circle, because my dad had known Glyn as a kid, because Glyn's mum used to work in a camera shop and Dad used to call on them. So there was all this linkage going through Dad and all through the industry. But so I've known Glyn for 20 odd years now. And we did a couple of workshops. Yeah. We did a couple of workshops here in Cradle Mountain a few years ago, but I'm really excited to get back together with him and, put the band back together, as they say, and go to India. And I'm excited about that. Like, I think in the last year or two, I've really started to really have a passion for that street photography, really sort of just enjoy walking around the streets of towns and cities and just, capturing moments, shapes, textures, buildings, whatever it might be, people. I really enjoy that. So that'll definitely be an eye opener. So, those places are definitely, but the world's such an incredible place. Like, where you can go anywhere really, and you'll find something that shines to you. And I think we're lucky like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, here in Australia, we're spoiled for choice of amazing locations, whether it be street scenes or landscapes or, whatever it may be. We are incredibly lucky in that respect. I'm just going to jump out of the stream for a moment. Apparently my audio is still weird, but if anyone has any questions while I'm out for Cam, please jump in and ask him a question. And I'll be back.
Will I see them pop up?
They'll be in show comments, which right
comments
there for you.
There you go. All right. Yeah, cool. Chuck them. Yeah.
All right.
Fire away.
I'll be back. Okay.
You'll be back. Hope you'll be back. Otherwise, I'm running the show on my own. All right. Now we've got the show to myself. What do we do here? Chuck some questions in if anyone's still watching and wants to ask a question. I'm sure people have got some tricky questions that might be there, but I hope everyone's going well out there and gearing up for later this year for BFOP. I'm really excited about that. Oh, we've got dead air time here. I'm surprised that Glenn Lavender's not on there. I can see Dennis is on there. Who else has been chatting away? Adam Edwards, good morning to you. Who else we got? We spoke about the EV1. The EV1's a good camera, but the viewfinder could be improved a little bit, in my opinion. Yeah. Are you all gearing up, Den, for your BFOP reappearance? It might be good to catch up when we get up there. It should be a good year this year. I think we're going to get maybe some different things in BFOP this year. I think Matt and Nick are putting stuff together. So here we go. Now we've got Sprout the September tour. Oh, yes, there's another tour with Glenn and I in September 2027 next year. Spots are limited. And there's Cheryl. Hello, boss. You're watching? Need a replacement. Brendan Waits is watching. Great. Lucky Straps is, you should be driving and not watching your thing. That's okay. 5 days, 10 days on the professional fishing boat in Alaska 2 years ago, documenting fishermen. That's pretty cool. See, I'd like to do something like that. Like I've actually got something I'm going to be announcing in the next few weeks, which is on a boat and documenting something like that. But getting out, doing like a fishing boat or doing some crayfishes and documenting that'd be very cool. My question about workshops, please. What's your workshop question there? Any advice for someone that ran one workshop, put their entire effort into it and it went great, but it seemed so hard, I was scared to do another one. Did Justin do workshops at some stage, Greg?
Yeah, he and Jim did a big one. It was a wedding workshop, and they got
they did. Yes, I remember that.
And
yeah, I remember doing that. The advice, I don't know, like it's a bit like the weddings, I guess. You just got to do it. You know what I mean? Like if you do something once, you're not going to be an expert at it, and it is nerve-wracking. And like I still get nervous on every workshop I run. Is like, okay, have I booked the accommodation? Have I booked the hire cars? Have I got people's money? Have I told them where to meet me? Have I done this? Have I done that? And you're always running things through your head. You'll see that Cheryl Davis just commented hi boss on there before. So I've brought Cheryl on as a co-guide / assistant / IT / pretty much everything. So having someone to bounce off is definitely improved my nerves on a trip. So I used to have my cousin helping me out, who was great, but he wasn't so much into the behind the scenes organizing of it all. But having Cheryl there where we can just bounce off each other, like, hey, we're at this restaurant or something, or we're just logged into this hotel and we're not sure about dinner. So dinner's not happening here or something like that. Instead of me stressing about it, trying to organize 6 people rooms, move cars, get bags out and organize dinner, Cheryl can take some of that load. So she's been a godsend to have her on board. And she's an incredible macro photographer. She loves me spruiking that part of her. Cheryl Davis Photography. She has an Instagram account of Wolves and Weevils, which has all her macro work on there. You guys should actually get her on this show to have a chat. She'd be great. We've had her on our show, the Down South Photo Show. She has an incredible eye for small detail. We're doing a Daintree macro workshop together up in the Daintree next month. And like I'm a man, obviously, and men look at things differently to women. So we walk around this track, and I just see the big ugly bugs and things in the trees, and I'm like, oh, there's something there. And Cheryl's like, oh, there's a minuscule little thing over here. And like, what are you looking at? And there'll be this tiny little, bug on a tree that's camouflaged, and she just sees it. I'm like, I don't know how you do it. So, incredible macro photographer. But it's getting back to Justin's thing, but I guess it's just being organized. I think being organized prior to a trip. That you do hear some stories of people running workshops who don't necessarily have everything organized prior to it, or they don't scout the place properly, or heaven forbid they don't have the right permits to work in certain parts of Australia where they just rock up and, oh, look, you haven't got a permit, so you can't do this or do that. So being prepared and being professional, and getting things in place, like just a checklist of everything you need to do on each workshop before you head out is definitely something you need to do. And that's why I put all my trust in Glyn Lavender, that he's got all those things checked off before we go to India. So did I mention there again, there's another tour in September next year, 2027, India, Glyn and I.
You did.
He's told me to spruik it again.
I saw that. Oh, he's very demanding.
He's very demanding. He's a funny guy. He's a lovely guy, Glenn. Much time for him.
Yes.
And I also saw my co-host is there. Brendan said something about need a replacement to jump on. He was going to replace you.
You're going to take that. That's what it's all about. It's domination.
This is a corporate takeover. Yeah.
Yeah. Need a replacement. Speaking of Brendan Waits is your co-pilot on Down South photo show.
Yep.
That come to be. And that relationship with Brendan, how did that kick off?
Wow. Well, that all kicked off again at Camera House. Just before I was leaving Camera House, Brendan joined Camera House. So we crossed paths over about 3 or 4 months, I think it was, maybe 6 months at Camera Action. And pretty much it was just, we both love sport. That was about it. We just started chewing the fat about football, golf and cricket, which we do on the show a fair bit as well. And we just had a common interest. I think we went and played some golf, and, we went and saw some cricket and did a few other things like that. So we sort of just hit it off as mates that way. I joined his indoor cricket team that played out at Maribyrnong. We won a premiership. Brian's Bucks was the name of the team. We won the premiership there. And then, I left Camera Action. He stayed at Camera Action for a while. And then he moved down to Geelong and worked at Camera House in Geelong. And then he obviously opened up his very successful Camera and Photo, Ocean Grove Camera and Photo. So he continued on with that. But we just stayed in touch. And Brendan has his own. Brendan's such a superstar in the photography industry that he has his own photography golf classic. It's the Brendan Waits Photography Golf Classic that he has been running every year for the 20th year. This year. So we've played that. So a lot of people from the industry will come and play in that golf game. And but really, him and I, it's really just been around drinking and sport, really, as most Aussie blokes get to know each other. And then when COVID hit, I think there was a little break in COVID where I was able to get to Melbourne, and we was in his backyard, sitting around a little fire, having a few beers, and we were just doing this. We're just talking about cameras and photography and what we do and what we don't do, and all that kind of stuff. And I think he said, he goes, this could be a bloody podcast. I said, how do we do a podcast? And he goes, I don't know. How do we do a podcast? And I said, I don't know. Let's do one. So we have absolutely zero idea on how to do a podcast. We still don't know how to do it. It's just two mates, really good mates who have known each other for, again, 20 odd years, just chewing the fat about passion that we love, which is photography, like you and Justin do, same sort of thing. Bringing like-minded people into the limelight and doing that. And we started the podcast, we had no idea what we're doing. It took Brendan, I think it took Brendan about 50 episodes to actually get the ratio of his photo on the actual screen right to match mine. So it looked unprofessional from the get-go. But I think what resonated with people was that we were genuine. Like, we're just a couple of mates talking and having a bit of fun and chewing the fat about photography. And, you know, there was another podcast out there from Matt and another guy, Putt or Tut or Futt. I can't remember his last name. Tom Putt.
Tom Futt.
Tom Futt. Pom Futt.
Yep.
And that was, we just kept getting emails saying, for Christ's sake, please do something in that sphere that takes the attention off their podcast, because we just can't listen to it anymore. So we just said, right, we'll take over that. We'll take over that for you. So, yeah, that's pretty much how it grew. And then, you know, for a while there, we were quite popular. I think we were sort of rating as sort of number 1 or 2 photography podcast in Australia. And then we've almost done 200 episodes. We've backed it off a little bit. It was becoming quite a lot, but yeah, like, I love Brendan to death. He's a great mate. I'm going to see him tomorrow. He's actually on his way to Tassie as we speak, because we've got a workshop starting tomorrow on the East Coast. So we have a lot of fun together. We've had a lot of laughs. We've had a lot of drinks. Brendan came on the first American Utah tour I did. He came along and co-guided that with my friend, cousin Daniel. So we've had a lot of experiences. We paid $850 Australian each to play a game of golf in Vegas when we were over there. That was just stupid. So we just do stupid stuff together, and you know, it's made for a great friendship over 20 years. So yeah, it's good fun.
Hey, speaking of the golf, I know how passionate you are about golf. I see it on your socials all the time. Did you get to play around in Japan? No,
I did not. So this is the one thing I didn't do in Japan that I will be doing next year when I go back. Speaking of Cheryl, who helps me, Cheryl's actually become my official caddy on these trips. So whenever I go somewhere, I try and play a game of golf somewhere. And she's now caddied twice for me in Scotland, which has been fun. Actually having someone rake the bunkers for you and fix your divots up and help find your ball in the rough, because the ball's very rarely on the fairway or the green. I don't know if it's in I'm not sure if it's in her work contract, but it gets her out and about. So yeah, I try and incorporate a game of golf wherever I go if I can. I'm probably not as much of a tragic. Brendan's probably more of a golf tragic than I am. He'll go and actually hang around a fairway and watch a local tournament or stuff like that. So I just enjoy it. I've played golf for many years, played a lot of cricket, played a lot of football growing up. So pretty sporty growing up. And, you know, but one thing photographing for golf courses, golf courses look amazing.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Do you ever cross paths? Like, do you ever cross pollinate those hobbies? Those skills?
Definitely. So like, you've always got your phone on you. I've taken my camera many a time on golf courses that I've been on. If I play at a really nice golf course somewhere, take a camera with you. And I think I may or may not have taken a camera on the golf we played in Vegas. So that was a Tour Pro course, a TPC course. So that was like the PGA level course, which is why it was so expensive. And we got paired up with these 2 American guys who were just a riot, big cigars and just drinking every hole. And they paid for everything. Apart from the golf, they paid for all the drinks, and they bought us lunch afterwards. Just great people. So, and Brendan will kill me if I didn't mention this, but he birdied a TPC golf hole. He actually birdied a hole in that thing, so he was pretty happy about that. So, yeah, it's good fun. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Let me jump to a couple of quick comments. I wasn't sure where we're up to when I had to dip out.
That's okay.
Justin wants to know. Justin says, never too early for airport beers. I'd agree with that when I used to drink.
Yeah. Well, I think Brendan's at the Brendan must be at the airport now listening and drinking. So
it's my mother would say it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
That's it. 100%.
Also from Justin, did you have to wear a kilt on the course in Scotland?
No, I did not. It was pretty casual, actually. We didn't play on the high end course. Tried to get on St Andrews a couple of days in a row, but that didn't happen. So, but no, just neat casual was pretty much the order of the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Comment here from Nev Clark. G'day, Nev from Western Australia. Yes. I would love to play. How do you pronounce that? Barnbougle?
Barnbougle. Yeah, he wants to play Barnbougle down here in Tassie. Probably doesn't know this, but I'm a bit of a former golfer as well. Played off about 7 for a long time. Haven't picked up. Yeah. So Nev, Barnbougle, there's a couple of courses, Barnbougle, Lost Farm, and I think it's the Barnbougle Runs as well. There's 3 courses up near Bridport, up in northeast Tassie. Stunning courses, regularly voted one of the top Australian courses in Australia. So definitely come down. I used to play off about 8 Nev, so not anymore, but I've certainly blown out a bit more than that. But Tassie's got some really great golf courses. There's a new one that's just opened up here called 7 Mile Beach. It's about $290 to play around if you want to play around, which is crazy. But yeah, golf's, it's a great thing, golf. And like I said, makes for great photos as well. So I know Nev's a bit of a photographer. I think he's a GFX owner, isn't he? I think, from memory.
Oh, and you just picked up a Q3. I might have kissed his arm. Yeah. All
right. Yeah. So take one of those with you as well. You can get some great shots. So yeah.
Nice. Yep. Where was I going to go next with this? Oh, I guess what's next for you? What's on the horizon for your photography adventures?
Well, we're always evolving. So we've got some trips coming up. We're off to New Zealand next month, and then we've got Utah and Scotland later in the year, and then India next year with Glyn, and there's another one in September, hopefully. So we're always evolving with what we want to do. I've just been working with, so the weekend away we did down to the southwest. One of our guides, Jimmy Ems, who's also another great photographer down here in Tassie. He skippers an ex-Sydney to Hobart sailboat down here, and we're putting together a bit of a package to do a bit of a sail around the 3 Capes region. Photographing that as well. And we're still working on the fine details. I'm probably going to release it the next week or two. It's going to be fairly exclusive because it's not a boat that you can take 10 people on. But the second part of that is we may have access to shoot the Sydney to Hobart yacht race ending at the same time as floating around these giant sea cliffs in Tasman Island and all around the Tasman Peninsula. So we're working on the final details and costing of that. So that's one sort of thing that we're sort of, I guess, shifting gear a bit to do stuff like that. I don't know how I'll go. I've never really been on a sailboat for that long. I'll see how I go, but that'll be amazingly spectacular. Like that's the highest sea cliffs in the southern hemisphere, all around that coastline. And speaking of Brendan and I, we actually walked that 3 Capes a few years ago, and we saw it from the top, looking down. But looking up from the water, apparently it's just mind blowing. So we'll probably stop off at a few nice little coves like Port Arthur and Fortescue Bay, and a few nice places for the night, the time overnight, and then head out during the day. And you get pods of dolphins, you get seals, you get albatross, you get all the sea cliffs, and then you might even get the Sydney to Hobart yachts finishing as well. So I'm always looking for sort of somewhat left field sort of ideas and things like that. But we've got it. We're pretty good. Like we're filling up spots. Like most of next year's spots are filling, if not filled already. And then in 2028, spots are filling, and we've even got people asking about 2029. I just had a lady book in a couple of days ago. We're doing a winter Yosemite tour from 2028 onwards. And this lady went and booked in the 2029 tour. I just put it up there. Yeah, I'm like, I'll give you guys heaps of time to save and do stuff, and just put it out there. And she's dropped a deposit the other day. So, we're like I said, we're always evolving and trying with the international ones. I'm trying to give them like a 3 or 4 year circuit and then move on to somewhere else. Same region, but for example, Scotland, we might do a couple more years of that, and then maybe do Ireland or something like that, and work around that region a bit. But yeah, again, I pinch myself that's my job, that I get to travel the world.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a pretty ridiculous job when you look at it, being able to travel around the world with like-minded people, doing something that you're passionate about, and having fun along the way. It's there's a lot to be said for it, most definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as always, Cheryl's not stopped working. She's just told me to mention Dell's Geo stuff as well. So we teamed up with Australian Geographic. So teamed up with their travel department. So next year we're doing like 6 workshops with them, Flinders Ranges, the Flinders Islands here, and then we're also going to be doing the Tarkine with AusGeo. So that's something that can also expand. They're wanting to expand with us quite a lot. I just don't have the resources to do that just yet, but they've sort of put me on as their prime sort of photography tour leader, which is amazing.
That's incredible. Well done.
It's really good. Yeah, it's definitely a feather in the cap, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
and now it's just a real balancing act of being home, being on the road, keeping everyone happy of all sort of angles. So again, that's why having Cheryl on board is great, because you sort of bounce ideas off her. And she's my sort of level. I come up with these ideas. She's like, Cam, just come down a couple of levels and let's just look at what we can do, not what you can't do. And so stuff like that. And again, shout out to Brendan as well. Brendan's been a great soundboard for ideas for business, and he's been really inspirational with ideas for me and sort of how to leave my full-time job and then go do this full-time and all that kind of stuff. So so yeah, it's busy, and it's forever evolving. We'll see how it goes.
And speaking of the transition from a day job to a creative job, how did that process go for you?
It was pretty easy for me, because I just got fed up working for the government, and I was just like, they can stick it up their backside. I'm not doing this anymore. They were just so working in the government, and I do say this to a lot of people. We see it a lot in the news, and you see a lot around your own social circles. People go, oh, the public service, they don't do anything. They're all useless. Centrelink this, or child support this, or NDIS this, or whatever it is. Sadly, the people working there, just get screwed over. Like the conditions are so hard. The pay is now no longer, like, everyone used to think government jobs were really well paid. They are not anymore. Scott Morrison put an end to that. He decided to sort of stop giving pay rises for 10 years. So, share a thought for those guys when you ring them on the phone or go into the office, getting yelled at every day and getting all the different types of people walking in. So it was a pretty easy decision for me to say, you know what, I've done enough of this. I went from full-time to part-time and started doing these workshops on the side. And then from there, I decided to take the leap. And again, it was a chat with Brendan about how he sort of went full-time doing what he did on his own business. And his advice to me, which I'll never forget, was, mate, I write my own roster. I play golf when I want. I pay the mortgage and put the kids through school. That's enough for me. And I'm like, you know what? That's enough for me as well. And so, but I pulled the pin in January 2020, and COVID hit February 2020. So I quit my full-time job and then went straight into a pandemic. And so shout out to the Tasmanian government. They gave tour operators quite a few grants to keep them afloat. So that sort of kept me going. And then the good thing about Tassie that was great, when COVID finished, you still weren't allowed to travel overseas as such, but Tassie was still a destination you could go to, because it was part of Australia. For those who don't know, Tassie is still part of Australia. And you could then come down here and do workshops. So I have pretty much been booked out 80-90% since COVID. So it worked in my favor that way. So haven't looked back. My wife still works in child support. She sort of works off the phones a little bit, sort of in the background, so she doesn't get that full on experience. But I still get PTSD from when I hear her come home from work, or she's on a meeting, or she tells me what's going on at work. I pull my hair out thinking, I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. And again, I'm absolutely blessed to be able to do what I do on a daily basis. It has its stresses, it has its ups and downs, and running your own business in this sort of climate's not easy, but it still beats doing what I was doing, that's for sure.
Yeah. So with running so many workshops each year and traveling a lot, what's the balance of time at home versus time out in the field on a job? How many months a year are you home?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I did the maths a few years, or last year I did the maths about how many days away I was versus how many I was home. And I was still home more than, I'm away for probably 40% of the year, 50% of the year. And then the difference is that you're away overnight. You're sort of away for a week or 10 days, and then you're home. So like, for example, this year, I've got almost most of July off, I think. And then we've got a fair chunk over the Christmas break into January off as well. So there's almost 2 or 3 months off throughout the year. But it's being away for those chunks of time. It does make it a bit tricky. It's hard to sort of communicate back home on different time zones and things like that. Yeah. But I think having the technology we have these days, like FaceTiming and, stuff like that, I can ring the kids up. Like, I still get notifications on my phone when I'm overseas that my daughter or son's like trying to get extra time on their iPad because mum's turned it off, and you get the notifications at 2:00 in the morning. So, but yeah, my daughter's just turned 13, so she's very techie. So she's on the phone all the time or FaceTiming and stuff like that. My son, he loves his gaming and stuff like that. So he'll send me messages from online and stuff. But we try and catch up most nights if we can and have a chat. And again, I think it's important that when I am home, I'm present. There's still a bit of work to do when you get home, but that's the beauty of having this downstairs. I'm not, I can just pop up and downstairs wherever I need.
Yeah, you can separate that.
Yeah.
That part of your life off, can't you?
Yeah. And, do the school runs and make the school lunches as much as you can. And I find that when I get home, and this is not a dig at my wife, sort of is, but sort of isn't. But I find when I get home, I'm on washing duty. I'm on, cleaning the house duty. I think last few days before I get home, she's like, well, he's coming home. He's been on a holiday. He can sort that out. I've been doing all the kids and work and all that kind of stuff, which is fair. It works. Yep. It's working for now. We'll see how it goes. This little couch here folds out as a bed, so there's an option if I do get kicked out.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
Well, at least you don't have to sleep on a concrete floor anymore.
That's it. I don't have to do it. Yeah, that's right.
You don't. No. Just going to jump on a quick comment here because I don't understand who this is or what this is about. But Velk for short says, I need to see you two in hot pink mini skirts.
Ooh.
Yeah, Velk for short.
Yeah.
What's your long name and why? Why do you need to see that? Is
he referring to us too, or
I think so. Is it a kink? Is that what we're dealing with? I'm not opposed to it. I just want to have a bit more info.
Beards and mini skirts.
Pink mini skirts. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah. I don't think this is the right podcast.
I think this is the camera life, not the pink life. I don't know.
Yeah. Or the bear life.
You get some strange people on your show. We don't get anything like that on our show.
It's the risk of going live. And you should see when we have it on our Monday nights, we have our call-in number. And Nick Fletcher calls, Dennis calls, and Glyn Lavender calls. And sometimes I hate having that call-in number. I really do.
Yeah, especially with those three. Like you couldn't pick any three worst people to call in, could you?
It's trouble. It's just trouble. Such attention seekers, each and every one of them.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
Cool. So I need to ask a question on behalf of Justin because we typically ask this question of every podcast guest, or he loves to ask this question. So here's the scenario. Imagine that it's the end of the world. Okay.
Yeah.
The virus is spread.
Not far from the truth. Yeah.
It's not hard to imagine right now. The deadly virus is spread. Everyone is turning into zombies. They're coming for you. You need to dash. What one camera and one lens do you grab to document the zombie apocalypse?
Well, I'm not going to do film because that's not going to get developed in time to see the results. So that's out. I would probably I'd probably just grab my M11 that I've got here and chuck a nifty 50 on the front maybe and shoot the world as I see it or as it ends. Probably a 50mm lens and my little Leica there that can handle it and see what happens. It doesn't have autofocus, so hopefully they're not. Hopefully the zombies aren't too fast moving, which they're not. In most movies they're pretty slow.
Usually a shuffle, isn't there? There's kind of a.
It is. So that'll be Brendan and I at the end of our workshop next week. That's what I might get some practice shots then. But end of the world, I'd be grabbing my camera, a 50mm lens. I'd probably be finding a little place down here in Tassie, a nice little cottage somewhere maybe in the southwest, and just hanging down there and see if the zombies get that far and see how we go.
Yeah. Or maybe just something that's only accessible by sea, little secret cove.
Well, that one is almost only accessible by sea and boat or 8 days walking. So that sounds like a good place.
Yeah.
We'll see.
There was something I wanted to ask you because we have a lot of BFOP faithfuls who watch the Camera Life podcast. And for those of you that don't know, BFOP is the Bright Festival of Photography. It's held every year in Bright in the Alpine region of Victoria. Cam has been to many and he's been a workshop instructor. And Justin and I have been to 2 now and we're going again this year, which is amazing. Can we expect to see you at BFOP 2026?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be there. I'm chomping at the bit to get there. So, so I'll be there. I'm actually going to get up there a few days earlier and maybe run some little 2 or 3 hour little pre-BFOP blow your cobwebs out sessions. So if folks want to look on my website, they're all up there. They're like $100 for 3 hours and come and get your cameras all sorted out and ask some questions to get yourself ready. But no, I'll be there. I love BFOP. BFOP was a big change for me as well. That sort of netted me a lot of customers from the first couple of BFOPs I did. So, you've got a captive audience of incredible photographers, whether or not they're beginners or experienced, who love getting out and about with their cameras. So to be a tour operator, it was a no-brainer to plug your business up there. So, but Matt and Nick do an incredibly good job. They put on this festival every year. I know how stressful it is for them. They've only got a small team of helpers, which do their job well. But it's a great way. I actually it's not a homecoming, but it's a great way for all the photographers that we all know each other to also get together and catch up for a bit of downtime in between times between workshops. You get to see lots of people, lots of customers go there. It's a really interesting, my grandparents lived in Bright for 35, 40 years. So I was practically a local growing up in Bright. I've been to that many times, and getting back to Bright, if I can get back there any time is a win. But to do it with a festival and, something that you love so much, it's a real benefit to be there. But you drive into Bright and there's people everywhere with tripods and cameras, and it's like, this is my kind of town. These are my kind of people. And then, you walk down the street and, you might get recognized. You feel somewhat semi-famous because people know you, but you don't know them. And, but yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there from sort of the Tuesday, and then I've got to actually fly out the day after, the Monday, out to Scotland. So back off to Scotland straight after it. So, so you're looking forward to it, looking forward to catch up with you guys in person, have a beer, and everyone else that's going along, and, meet all the new people that are from your show that are coming along. And, maybe Brendan and I will probably maybe do a podcast while we're up there as well. I think you guys did like a live thing while you're up there last year. So
so every morning we did a live before we headed to BFOP HQ to set up as Lucky Straps, because we were there wearing two hats. This year we're bringing a bigger crew. We've got the same prop. Justin has already booked in our accommodation. We've got the same place we had last year. So we've got a big space with a big table where we set up the podcast, and we'd love to have you guys on one morning. I know Brendan's often, Brendan, I think last year Brendan was often up the mountain very, very early. We'll certainly try to tee something up and get a bit of a Camera Life and Down South collab going.
That'd be great.
Which would be a lot of fun. And last year was such a buzz for us, for both the podcast and for the Lucky Straps side of things. Lucky Straps proved to be incredibly popular. But just that community, again, people just coming up and saying, hey, thanks for your BFOP booking party. It really helped me a lot. Or, whatever it may be. So it's certainly a lot of fun. And we're looking forward to it as well.
Just to give you an idea of how wonderful everyone is at BFOP, a shout out to Mel Haddon, who's one of our big supporters on our show, and I'm sure he listens to this show as well, and comes on lots of workshops. But off his own bat last year, he put together a Down South photo show, for lack of a better word, piss up, the night before BFOP started at the Alpine Hotel. And he approached Brendan and I said, look, I know you guys won't be there, and Campbell, you'll be away, and Brendan will be up Mount Hotham. Do you mind if I put on this little get together for fans of the show? We're like, mate, what do you need from us? Let's do it. It'd be great. And it started off with 20 people. I think it had about 60 or 70 people by the time Brendan came back. And he totally off the own bat. He just, he loves the show that we do. He's very supportive, and we love Mel. He's a lovely guy. And, that's what BFOP's all about. There's no egos. There's no BS. If you're thinking of coming to BFOP and just getting your big camera out and talking about how good you are, you're not going to last very long.
It's not the festival for you.
It's not for you. No. So come along, just enjoy it. And the other bit of advice I always give people as well is, there's a crazy moment where everyone's got to book in their workshops and try and get into whatever you can get into. Guarantee you're not going to get everything you want. That's just BFOP. But it doesn't matter, because it's got little to do with what workshops you get into, but everything to do with the whole vibe and the whole community and the whole weekend. So make the most of what you get. And then also as well, like the photographers that are there, like we run workshops, but when we're not running workshops, we're generally hanging around BFOP HQ. We're there to help you guys as well. So come and ask us questions, come and introduce yourself, come and tell us what you do or don't like. It's a wonderful event, and I can't wait to get back. It's going to be awesome.
No, we're certainly stoked for it for this year. we're still it's still early days, obviously, but we're starting to have some conversations with Matt and Nick about what role we're going to play this year for Lucky Straps and the Camera Life. Because last year we did all the interviews of all the instructors and we did daily podcasts. So we're really keen. And, for me, it was one of the best weekends last year, especially. It was one of the best weekends I've ever had. It was just so much fun and so creative and so supportive because of the community.
Yeah, it is what it sounds cliche, but it is one of those weekends that is awesome. Like it's always up there. Like I think this will be, maybe I've done 6 or 7 of them now. I think maybe it is always something to look. It's always on the calendar to look forward to, because it's just that community, and it's rare these days where you can go to a big event with 400, 500, 600 people, and no one's a dickhead, and everyone's having a good time, and everyone's there for the right time, and everyone's just checking their egos at the door and just there for something they all enjoy. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your fitness. It's good for your creativity side, and and everyone has a blast. You got like Julie from Nikon. She's always a star of the show. You've got you guys there. You've got you got Wes, and you got the guys from Fuji there, Matt from Fuji. You've got all the gang there. That's really fun, and I always have a ball. It's it's hard not to have too much fun there.
Yeah, it's very true. And like you said earlier, full credit to Matt and Nick for creating something that actually can achieve that every year on year. It wasn't a fluke. This is the vibe that comes with BFOP. And I agree with you about booking workshops. If you don't get what you thought you wanted, then lean into what you can get, because it will teach you stuff about your overall photography craft. It's like you were saying earlier about trying different genres. You will learn from it. It will benefit you in the long run, no matter what you choose to shoot. So so I agree.
If I had $1 for every time someone at BFOP or post BFOP came up to me and said, "Oh, I had no expectations of booking an X workshop with X person, but it was the best workshop I did for the whole weekend. It was completely out of my comfort zone, and I learned so much, or I had so much fun, or I didn't know my camera could do that." Like, it's generally those little pocket surprises that people just get what they can, and they end up being the workshop that they have the most fun at. So go in with open mind. You're going to learn. Like, all the instructors are incredible. Like, well, I think we are. We're all pretty damn good. We all know what we're doing. And you can sort of just suck us for as much information in that 3 hours or so and have a great time at the same time. Yeah.
Plus, we get the shenanigans, the after hours activities that are just incredible. The way that they can entertain 600 people and everybody is having a good time is just phenomenal. It's an incredible experience. Getting goosebumps right now.
Times have changed, though. I remember the first couple of years I did it. Adam Dyson and myself were renowned for having a few drinks at BFOP, professionally, of course. But now, whenever we do the group chat before BFOP, well, they did it the year before, they have everyone on the big Zoom call. It's like the big Brady bunch with everyone on there. And it's always like, now, you guys are here to have a good time. And it's always, but Adam and Cam, don't drink too much. This is, let's just keep it under control. Like, well, we haven't done it for years, but we're still known for the two that got maybe a bit hammered on the first one we did. But it's a drinking festival with photography is how we used to explain it. So
I see. I understand.
Maybe not so much.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, look, I think that might be a wonderful place and a natural place to tie a bow in today's episode of the Camera Life podcast. And if you'll forgive me, Cam, I'm just going to do a very quick ad read.
Yeah, go for it.
We go live twice a week, every Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Australian, Eastern, currently daylight time, but soon to be standard time, basically Melbourne time. And we live interview a photographer, and learn about their journey, their craft, and what they've done over the years. And then, of course, every Monday evening, we have our random photography show where we cover all the random bits of our industry: photography news, product launches, unboxing of gear that we might have acquired, and of course, your images, where you can send in an image to our show, and we'll bring it up on the Monday evening, and we'll have a chat about it, and we'll go from there. So if you do have images you want to send in, we have some limits now because we're getting a bit out of control, but we'd love you to send in one image. If you do want to send a second image, then maybe a behind the scenes shot, of whatever your main image was, your camera specs, camera settings, and a little blurb about the journey and the experience that you had in taking that shot. And you can send that to justin@luckystraps.com.au. And so that's every Monday evening, 7:30 p.m. Australian, daylight or Eastern time, depending. And of course, today's episode of the Camera Life podcast is proudly brought to you by Lucky Straps. That's us. We make handcrafted, premium Aussie-made leather camera straps to fit any camera. We have everything from wrist straps through to much larger, broader shoulder straps for heavier gear. But head to luckystraps.com. And if you do happen to drop a camera strap or maybe a hoodie or a T-shirt in the cart, use code Greg for a 15% discount at the checkout. That bit's done.
Very well.
Do you do ad reads on your podcast?
We don't even barely have a running sheet, let alone an ad sheet. No, we don't. We plug our own workshops and stuff like that. Brendan's getting quite good at it. He has a very much a radio voice that he puts on when he wants to do his own little advertising. So, we haven't incorporated too much of that. But cool. You did very well. You did well.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Well, look, thank you so much for your time, Cam. It's always it's always great to catch up and hear your stories of your adventures and your travels and your craft. But equally as amazing and important to hear about your journey today. We really appreciate you sharing that with us, and we look forward to seeing you at BFOP, but also to seeing what you've got in store for the upcoming years for your workshop. So where can folks go to check out what you've got on offer and your workshops?
Yeah, easiest way is just my website, which is www.tasphoto.com.au. That's got all the workshops on there as well. A little bit of merchandise on there as well, if you're thinking of buying a hoodie or something like that. But it's got all the details on there, all the workshops. And then the Down South Photo Show, we also do workshops, which one of them we're starting tomorrow. So we do a few workshops a year there. There's a link on that page as well. But it can be all found on there. Feel free to tune into our podcast as well. We don't go as live and as often as you guys do. I don't know where you and Justin get the time, to be honest, but we're on there. We've got 180 odd episodes that you can go back and watch. Thank you for having me on. It's, like I said, lovely to catch up with you guys, and look forward to having a beer with you in BFOP later on in the year. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, that's brought us to the end of the show, folks. I don't have the outro music because I don't have access to the Steam Deck, and we didn't think to set that up beforehand, obviously. No. But thank you to everyone for watching today. Let me just quickly jump through the chat and just say goodbye to some people. Jeff Oz _video, thanks for tuning in. Nev Clark, as always. Brendan, of course. And Vork for short. Really want to get to the bottom of that. It's a bit. Cheryl, your right-hand person, has joined the chat, and
get her on the show. She'd love to have a chat, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure. Adam Edwards, thanks for dropping in. LTK Photo, David Leparati, Robert Varner, and everyone else. Thank you once again for watching the Camera Live podcast, and we'll see you on Monday night. Don't forget, we're doing a challenge for toy photography. Check out on the social posts. There's some information there about what we want from you. There we go. Find a toy, light it creatively, take a photo, send it in to justin@luckystraps.com.au, and we'll bring it up on Monday's evening. But that's all for now. So we'll say ta-ta. Thank you, everybody. Be safe. Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Greg. See you guys.
See you guys.